Good morning, everybody. Welcome to Transformation Tuesday. Today I'm going to be talking about Courtney. And Courtney, her biggest symptoms were fatigue, constipation and acne. So for those who are new here, my name's Ange and I'm the digestive detective. So 43-year-old Courtney came to me initially for the acne and the constipation. So she was really fatigued as well. That was a big thing for her. And she was having this flare of acne that she told me was really impacting her confidence. Her biggest symptom was constipation, and so she was going to the bathroom once every 6 to 8 days. Now, if you have the perfect poo and go 3 times a day, imagine what it's like for somebody who goes 6 to 8 times every 6 to 8 days. So it's pretty severe constipation in my book. That's not just a little bit of constipation, that's pretty severe. So for Courtney, she said it wasn't a big deal because she'd had constipation issues on and off throughout her life. So that was okay for her. So, however, with the latest bout, this was really taking its toll on her because her face had exploded with acne and she was just feeling all round sluggish. So digging into Courtney's health history, can't speak this morning, she was born premature via C-section. And at this time, she was given massive doses of antibiotics due to an infection that she had. Her mum couldn't breastfeed her, and her childhood was littered with trips to the hospital of constant use of antibiotics. So even as an adult, most years she'd had 4 to 6 rounds of antibiotics. That's a lot. You know, have you had to take multiple rounds of antibiotics in the last year? And have you thought about how that impacts your gut? There's quite a big or a significant impact on our gut from antibiotics. And I say this over and over again because I want everybody to hear it. Antibiotics, 1 dose of antibiotics can knock out bacteria for up to 4 years. And some, it can take out species that never come back. So it's worth thinking about that when you've got to take antibiotics. So something also to think about with Courtney, or even for babies born by a C-section, they have altered microbiomes. So then if a baby's bottle fed on top of that as opposed to being breastfed, there's also a really big disadvantage to those babies in comparison to their counterparts who are vaginally born and breastfed. So this is probably a little bit of a delay for this start of life. So there is evidence that they catch up, but it takes a couple of months to years for them to catch up properly. And there is some evidence that this can have lasting complications for them. So we shouldn't feel guilty about this. Sometimes birth plans don't work out the way that we want them to. So remember, it's having a happy, healthy baby is the most important thing. So no guilt for that. So for Courtney, her life had been influenced by the antibiotics, and this is likely to be one of the reasons for her constipation. Now, I'm all about getting to the root cause of what's causing constipation. And so there are around 15 different root causes of constipation. So 15, so it's not just about increasing fibre and having more magnesium. That they are often the best places to start and work out from there, but that's quite a lot. So with Courtney, because she'd had lifelong issues, I recommended that she get a complete stool test, because this could tell me a couple of things: what her gut bacteria that she had in her gut was doing and which bacteria she had and were they good ones, how her digestive function was, whether she was processing fats and carbohydrates, and whether she was chewing properly and that she was having actually breaking down food properly. So that was important. And it would also tell me if she had any parasites or any other issues. So I also recommended we test her thyroid. So thyroid is a whopping big issue when it comes to peristalsis of the bowel, especially hypothyroid or Hashimoto's disease. They can really slow the bowel movements to a standstill, which just creates havoc within your whole system. You put on weight, your eyebrows fall out, lots of things happen. So you get really cold all the time. She didn't have many of those symptoms, but she certainly had the peristalsis issue. So after the first visit, I sent her off with some homework to do. So stool test, thyroid test, food, mood and poo diary, which everyone gets to fill out. So on the food, mood and poo diary, it also tells me how much water she's drinking, what sort of food she's eating, how often, and how she feels after she eats them. So this is all great intel for me to see what's actually happening for a person. So when Courtney came back, we worked on a diet, which was not as wholesome as I'd like, as wholesome as I'd like to see. Her diet was pretty low in fibre, and she rarely drank any water. So there's 2 causes of bowel problems right there. And her drink of choice was coffee, because she felt that would give her bowel some relief. But you know, if you're only going to the toilet 6 to 8 times every 6 to 8 days, it's not really giving your bowel, you know, making a difference to your bowel. But so the other thing, she thought it would give her a boost of energy because she was always tired. So it didn't. It just made her feel much more exhausted. So our main area of focus was to increase her fruit and vegetable intakes, as well as her good fat and oil intakes, because not having the right amount of good fats and oils can also change how regular your bowel is. So getting more oil into your diet is a really good thing, good oils. So when we received the stool test back, we could see Courtney was deficient in a number of key species in her gut, which was impacting her microbial balance, which would play a part in the constipation. And I would suggest that this is from the use of the consistent antibiotics, from her diet. She wasn't eating enough foods to feed the right bugs. Also from not drinking water, because one of the bugs in particular needs to make mucus. It can't make mucus without water. So that's sort of the scope of it. So the stool test was a really good thing for her. So we know that with Courtney, there was some restoration work to do. There was quite a lot of restoration work to do. She also had a high stress job, so her cortisol level was really high as well. So she's got a lot going on. So when Courtney's thyroid test came back, her reverse T3 was quite high. So this is an indicator of not only her thyroid was suffering, but also her adrenals were suffering as well. Because both of these things as well are big causes of constipation. So with Courtney, on a quick add up, there's about 7 root causes that we had to address to get her bowel to work properly. So that's quite significant for one person. So now you can imagine this was not a quick fix for Courtney. So I saw Courtney for about 18 months, and I'm pleased to say after that time she was going to the bathroom every day. What we did notice was diet and stress really impacted her bowel. And as soon as her stress levels went over a certain level, her bowel would just completely shut down. And it was good for her to see that. The other thing we noticed, that when her stress level got to a certain level, her self-care practices went to 0. Have you ever noticed you do that? I know I'm guilty of dropping the ball on that. I stopped going for my walk. I don't have time just to do nothing. I eat crap because I think that will make me feel better. So all those things are really a indicator that we need to stop for a minute, take a few deep breaths, and think about taking care of yourself for a while. And I think that's really important. And so with Courtney, we made such great progress to see that she could now control where her bowel was going. So in reality, we need to focus on all of these things to keep us in our best health. So one of the things I'd like to say, if you have constipation and you'd like to know the root cause of the constipation, I invite you to book in for a free 15-minute call, so I can give you some directions with this issue. It's a really big issue. Constipation is an issue that people just think, oh, if I just eat more, if I just take more fibre, or if I just have more water, it will go away, or if I just add some magnesium. That's not the case. You really need to look at the whole 15 of these causes and see that there's not one of those in place. So have a fantastic weekend, folks, or a fantastic week, and stay safe. If you have to self-isolate, do that safely, and watch videos and things. That sounds like a holiday to me, but not so good if you're sick on top of that. So have a fantastic day. I will see you possibly tomorrow night. I'm doing a group thing tomorrow afternoon, perhaps. I need to work that out, in the Love Your Guts group. So if you're not a member there, join in. I'm going to talk about immune system, some foods and stuff that you can add to your diet that can make your immune system, just give it a bit of strength. It's not going to stop you from getting anything, but it will help you, if you do get stuff, move on and get over it quicker. So there's some steps you can take. There's lots of medicinal foods you can eat without too much stress. So have a fantastic day, guys. See you soon.